Welcome back, Tadpoleans. Today we are going to be covering the 10 biggest myths in chess. So you've probably heard one of these myths before, but some of them are wrong. So today we are busting 10 of the biggest myths in chess. So number one is never move the same piece twice. Most beginners hear this rule, but it's only a guideline. If moving the piece again wins material or even creates an attack, you should definitely do it. And this is an example right here. It's white to move, and this knight has moved twice so far to get to take this pawn. And we have an option. We could either take this knight, or we could go bishop to d3. And you can take this, and this will be a very easy position to win for white, now that the king is completely exposed, and white can go something like bishop to e2 and castles. Alright, so myth number 2 is always castle early. Castling is usually good, but not always. If your opponent is attacking on the side you're about to castle on, it might be safer to keep your king in the middle. And this is the example of it. If we castle right now for white here, black has some stuff that might actually be pretty scary. For example, b4, queen to a5, b3, let's say white goes for. And let's say black goes for something maybe even like knight to d5 and goes for an attack here. Sure, there's this, but I don't know. This might be actually a little bit scary for white. This is very scary for white. So, this isn't amazing for white. Is my point. It's not clear. So their a pawn is getting threatened. Um, so yeah, you shouldn't always castle early. It's good to castle early usually, but be aware of attacks if your opponent's threatening him. Okay, myth number 3 and 4 are kind of one myth. So bishops are always better than knights, and knights are always better than bishops. Closed positions always favor knights, and open positions always favor bishops. And we're going to be showing an example of both. So this is often way better for knights. These bishops can't really do anything because the position is closed. This bishop is very bad. This bishop is also very bad. Black's knights would like to go to e4 by going knight to c8, knight to d6, and knight to e4. White's knights would like to go to e5 by trying to go something like knight to e5 and rerouting this knight there, or even putting their own knight on like b4 and like maybe even going for bishop h6. And this one is bishops are always better than knights. So in this position, bishops will definitely rule because, I mean, this is very, these bishops, like, let's say black goes for bishop to d3, um, it's definitely going to be the bishops that are ruling this game. When open positions are here, then bishops are better. And if it's a close position, you should definitely, like, know that knights are always better. So, next myth is myth number 5, never sacrifice. And, so we got a Greek gift here. You should probably know what a Greek gift is. And, never sacrifice. Well, if you do sacrifice, you have this. And if black goes, king g6, the better version, then there is, queen to g4. So yeah, sacrifice is definitely worth it in this position. Um, there's also h4. h4 is probably just winning. h4 is probably just better. honestly. Yeah, h4 is better here. So yeah, bishop sacrifice on h7 here, definitely worth it. Gives you an amazing sacrifice and potential mate. That was myth number 5. Myth number 6 is if you're up material, you're always winning. And so this is not true in some occasions. So we can see that black is up a pawn, but white has some very devious plans that they want to, I think they want to checkmate black. And I think white definitely has enough compensation for this pawn. And it is black to move. Let's say black goes for something like h5 or f5. 5 might be the best. Maybe, for example, this. White will carry on with their plan, and it's kind of hard to stop at this point. Black is up a pawn, but that doesn't mean that you're winning. In all positions, it doesn't mean you're winning. There can always be a counter attack. And miss number 7 is blitz makes you worse. And my mom has told me this a lot. And blitz can actually help your pattern recognition and time management. But if you only play blitz and never study the games, your improvement will definitely slow down. So I played a game versus a 2100. And so I'm going to be analyzing this game because, yeah. So d4, d5, bishop c4, bishop f4, the accelerated London, c6, knight c3, bishop f5, knight f3, e6, trying to get a little Slav going. E3, knight f6, bishop d3, we trade, we develop, I find the sequence, and I'm trying to trade these knights and go for knight to d5. Now I have a very good knight, and I try to trade his bishop as it appears better than mine. He goes knight t5, a good move. I take that knight because it was definitely better than my bishop in this position. Takes queen to g5, trying to go for maybe f6, then h5 maybe, and go for knight to f4. He forces me out with c4, so I go knight to f4. Yep, my key. Oh, knight to f4. Takes. I'm hitting this pawn. Rook a d1, rook a d8. Hitting this pawn. Queen to d3. And here I am winning this pawn. If you're saying, well, why didn't he just go for d5? I actually don't really know why he didn't go d5 here. He probably should have gone d5, and this is probably what the game would have looked like. I probably would have gone, for example, queen d5, hitting the pawn. He probably would have gone b3, maybe rook e8 we would have saw, and I would have tried to still hit this pawn. But he went g3, and I was able to capture this pawn. He did not want to trade queens, as I would be up a pawn in that endgame. So I go queen d4, protecting the b7 pawn. Rook e1, queen back to c6, not wanting to lose this pawn, obviously. Rook e5, b6, rook h5. He thinks he's slick, trying to set up queen to c2 and mate, which he is obviously not. Rook to d4, queen c2, I go g6 because I'm not going to lose to a mate in 1. Rook h3, queen f3, queen to c1, h5, b3. And this rook is not very good anymore, as he cannot move it, because I would be able to win the game probably. Rook fd8, I'm trying to go for rook d1, queen to g5, saying, I don't really know, he's trying to go for he's trying to let his rook out maybe. That didn't work, because of rook to d1, and he's forced to sacrifice his queen, otherwise it's mate in 2. So he sacrifices his queen, take h4, I trade rooks, check him, e5, check him, or not check him, pin him, pin his rook. So I could try to go g4. I go g5. He goes here. I take, and he resigns. So this game, I'd say I've played pretty well. Um, Analyzed. I think his mistake was probably early on. It was probably g3. I would say yes. The computer does agree with me. I played 98 accuracy, so very good game by me. 98 accuracy is really good. He didn't make a blunder, so he played quite well with a 91 accuracy. But 98 accuracy is very good. So yeah, I might actually get reported for this game. But yeah, I'm actually a YouTuber, so I hopefully won't get banned. And yeah, this was myth number 8. Myth number 9 is never bring out your queen early, or myth number 8, I meant. So this is the Scandinavian defense, and it requires you to bring out your queen early. And yeah, this is just the opening, the Scandinavian. It's knight f6, bishop g4, castles, knight c6, d4, castles. This is just the Scandinavian. You can't take here because of this. So yeah, that's the Scandinavian defense. That's why sometimes it is good to bring out your queen early, but it usually means when you go for queen to h5 and bishop to c4 and think you can checkmate them. That is not acceptable. So yeah, that's myth number 8. Myth number 9 is a check is always a good move. And this is not true. It is sometimes a good move, but in this position you have a check here. Let's say you see it and you're like, ooh, it's a check, I must play it. But it doesn't really do anything, so sometimes they aren't actually good moves, as they don't really lead to anything, and you'll have to bring your piece back, as let's say you go for, I don't know, g1. Let's say they trap it, you're like, ooh, I can sacrifice. Another thing, you gotta calculate your sacrifices. You think that this is winning, but they actually have rook to f6, which protects it. So yeah, this kind of was 2 examples maybe. And myth number 10, the final one, is always trade when you're ahead. And yeah, so white is hoping for a trade here. Because I would say black is, or white is up in material. They want to trade. Because they are, like, black has more, I'd say they have an advantage because of the bishop pair. White is up a pawn, but I think I'd pick black here because of their advantage in the bishop pair. And so yeah, don't always trade when you're ahead. I would go for something like rook t4, and then I'd probably go queen to f6, trying to hit this, trying to get them doubled pawns maybe. Let's say they go for rook t1, I'd double. This would probably be like what a game goes like. I'd say black has the advantage, even though they're down a pawn, because of how much more active they are. And knights are usually worse in closed positions. So which myth surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if this video gets 5 likes, or let's go 10 likes, I'll do a part 2 when it gets 10 likes. So see you guys in the next one. Goodbye for now.